pessoal, tudo bem? Estou aqui para falar com vocês com Will Weisman. Ele é da Singularity University. Thank you, Will. Will, what do we want to talk here to explain about the Singularity University? As I said to the people before, I had a great experience when I went to the summit. I had like an open mind. It was a very disruptive to me. I come back to my country and said I need to do something different. I need to think different than I do. So after that, I did different kind of things. I started to do a new small business to develop more myself, to look more for new knowledge. So what I want to know is about you, to you share your experience, to you share your opinion about Singularity and how we can help people there. So please introduce yourself.
Great. Thank you.
Let's start.
Thank you. It's great to be with you today. So, she said my name is Will Weisman. I'm an executive director at Singularity University. I'm also a general partner at a venture firm called Kitty Hawk Ventures that focuses on early stage technology companies. My whole life has really been about continuous growth and really trying to remove limitations on how I see myself and how I see the world around me, and that has really become a core part of what Singularity University is all about. It's about not only a think tank and an educator, as you may know, founded by Ray Kurzweil and Peter Diamandis a little over 10 years ago, as a place where people could come to learn about what was happening at the forefront of exponential technology areas like robotics and artificial intelligence and advanced materials and med tech. And so we realized that was a really critical part of what we were doing, to help people understand what was happening at the forefront of technology and to understand what it meant when things were growing exponentially, so exponential thinking. But what we've also really come to realize is what's so critical is this mindset of shifting people's thinking, how they think about the world, right? How they think about themselves. I mean, you came away from our global summit and stepped back and saw the world in a different way and realized that you wanted to go down a different path. And that door, you opened that door, and then all these amazing things started to happen. And I've seen that, over and over and over again, the light bulbs that go off with people, that they, make these connections between these emerging trends and technologies, and then they also start to think about what they want to do in their life differently, how they want to contribute, how they want to help move the world forward in a positive direction. And so that's a lot of what we're trying to do, and we make that happen in all sorts of different ways at Singularity, and it's a lot of in-person programs that take place at our campus in Northern California. We do summits all over the world. We'll do, I think, close to 28 or 29 summits throughout the world, and quite a few down in Latin America over this next year. We were in Peru and Colombia at the end of 2018 for 2 summits, which was really exciting. So truly a global organization that's trying to educate and help move the world forward in a positive way.
Perfect. Could you please tell us, how do you see the LA? You were talking about Peru, about Colombia, and about Brazil. How do you see LA, Latin America?
Yes, yeah, thank you. We had just an incredible visit down there, and our summits have always been very well received. And Latin America, we've had so many folks, incredible people from Latin America, come up to our global summit and to other programs. So my sense from interacting with these people is that there's an incredible entrepreneurial spirit, that there's an incredible desire for change, that there is a real hunger to kind of leapfrog the old and to kind of create a new way of being and existing and business. I think also in some ways there's kind of a greater connection to nature and this understanding that the world is this incredibly complex, interconnected place, and that our environment is an incredibly important, part of that. For us to thrive, we need the environment to thrive, and so I think Latin America has so much to offer the world, insights and entrepreneurial spirit to offer the world, unique talents, unique things that make their countries so unique, and that they contribute to the world. And so it's, I think it's a really exciting time for Latin America in so many ways, because so many of the tools that we talk about at Singularity University are becoming more and more readily accessible, right? You don't have to go to a top 10 school. You don't have to, entrepreneurs come from so many different places, right? And your ability to have an impact has never been greater as an individual. And so those are some of the encouraging things that we talk about, and when we're down there, it's some of the things that really seem to resonate. How do you shift your mindset and become kind of an exponential thinker, and start to realize that many of the limiting factors in terms of how you have seen the world and your potential really are in your mind, and the tools are out there. Access to resources are becoming increasingly easily accessible, and so much of it is just kind of shifting your thinking and kind of opening yourself up, and then working very hard to go try to make something happen.
So it was my another question to say how the Singularity can help the lay people, the Latin America people. And you said about the change of mindset, but you have some points, some exactly things that you say, oh, this is for Latin America.
Well, I guess stepping back just a bit, I would say, one, there's an incredible amount of resources that are available on the Singularity website, so su.org. We make, and if you go to YouTube and see our channel there's basically, we make all the session videos from our summits available. I believe the last Brazilian summit session videos are on there as well as from some of the other Latin American summits that we put on. And so that's a really wonderful place to kind of start, because you can go and digest lots of material. If you're passionate about a particular area, or want to learn broadly about exponential thinking, or do a deep dive into an area like robotics or artificial intelligence to start to build familiarity, that's a great place to start. One of the cool things about just the time that we're living in right now, right, and the internet, is like we have access to so much information. And if you've got a computer and you're willing to kind of make the decision to set aside a time, you can become an expert in anything. Right? I run into so many people who had no expertise in artificial intelligence or quantum computing, things that sound very, very daunting. And they just decided they were passionate and they wanted to learn, and they started reading and doing the work and learning how to code if that was important, and all of a sudden they start to rise up, and it creates this really interesting virtuous cycle for them where they're identified as a leader, kind of like you, right, got identified, right? All of a sudden you started talking about some of these topics and people started looking at you for guidance and input, and it just has this, it feeds upon itself. So I would just really encourage people to, if you're interested in something, if you're excited about an area, if you realize you need to learn about exponential technology, it's just one small step in front of the other. Like, that's what gets you to the top of the mountain. Just one tiny little step after another eventually can take you to great places.
Yeah, that's perfect. It's exactly what I feel. It's a step to start, and really open doors, and you see, oh, it's possible. I can get there.
Yeah.
Or this is the way to get there. So,
well, you never really know, right, what the right path is and how life is going to unfold. So I think so much of it is just getting out there and starting to take those steps. And with everything, I've had multiple times in my life where I have looked at things out in the distance and been like, oh, I can't do that. That's not me. Like, I'm not going to go climb that mountain or do anyway, whatever it is. I put on a jet suit pack a couple months ago. But it's like, what I realize is actually that there's no reason why it can't be me or you or anyone. It's just deciding that you're going to open yourself up to those opportunities and start to work towards them. And like everything, it's lots of hard work. You can't predict what the future is gonna provide, but if you are excited about something and you start to make efforts and be out there, like, all sorts of things start to present themselves to you.
That's perfect. And what's your recommendations to an entrepreneur to have success? Like, some recommendations, some points that you think, oh, the entrepreneur should have this.
Yeah. So I think having a great mentor or several mentors is just one of the most important things that entrepreneurs can do, and really anyone can do, right? I mean, it's so hard to figure out these things on your own. Most problems and challenges, or other people have already gone through them, they've learned from them, right? There's no reason why you need to reinvent the wheel for most things, right? And so I think it's so important to surround yourself, or to try to find people who are willing to help give you some guidance, right? Here's how I'm thinking about setting up my business. Well, and here's how much money I'm going to raise, and here's the market I'm going to go after, and here's how long it's going to take me to reach profitability. And by being around the right or mentors, like, you might find, actually with this type of business, you don't need to go out and raise $5 million. You can raise $250,000, because you can go and get that first prototype and get this first proof point and see how customers are engaging with your product, and learn how you need to evolve the product. And then that gets you to the next stage, where the next group of investors or capital will come in at a stepped up valuation, which is better for the entrepreneur. And it's a series of steps. Or, I'm thinking about going after this market, and here's how I'm going to sell to them. Well, a mentor might say, with that type of audience, actually that's not what the traditional sales process looks like. And so you might have success going at it a completely different way, or you might just find that you're, banging your head against a wall for 2 or 3 years. And so things like that, having the right mentor, providing the right insight, all of a sudden can dramatically improve the probability of success, and decrease the amount of capital that you're going to need, and shorten the amount of time that it's going to take to be successful, and hopefully reduce some of the pain that is sadly almost always a part of being an entrepreneur. Often entrepreneurship is so glamorized, it's just held up there, and you see these people who have created something and are worth $500 million or $1 billion now, and that's very atypical, right? I mean, entrepreneurship is incredibly challenging. It's you have so much weight on your shoulders as an entrepreneur, that I think part of it is I would want to make sure by having great mentors around you and people that you can talk to, you can help make the journey an easier one. And it's important to just be communicating, very openly and honestly, I think, with your mentors about where you are and the challenges you're facing. And we talk a lot in Silicon Valley about failure and not being afraid to fail. One of the things I really noticed in my visit to South America was that there is a real, I think it's changing, but there historically has been a real penalty for failing, right? And people have not been willing to take as much risk because of that. And so that's something that really needs to change dramatically. Like, we're in a world where new businesses are being created and old businesses being destroyed, and major evolution and disruption is taking place all the time. So you have to be testing, and some of those tests are going to work out great, and many of them are not going to work out, and you learn and you iterate and you keep evolving, and that's just part of it. It's just this mindset of constant continuous improvement and change and testing, and not being afraid. I mean, failure stinks, right? No one wants to fail, but it's the reality of taking risks and trying new things. And if you're going to be successful in a world where things are changing more and more rapidly, I think it's so critical that mindset of being willing to take chances, and not penalizing people for those times when those chances don't work out.
That's perfect. And I also want to say thank you to my mentors. This point was very important in my career since I started. And when I say mentors, it's just not for business only, it's for life. I had mentors in my life as my parents, that always I share things with them, as my friends, and I have mentors in my business that I share the next step that I'm doing in my career. And I might also want to say thank you to my mentees, because I have people that comes and wanted to listen my opinion and to share information, and I know that I learn with them. It's like, so to be
it's a two-way street, right?
To be a mentor and be a mentee, it's so good. So people, what he said, it's so amazing. It's so important to have a mentor, to have a person to share, to learn. Of course, we will grow, we will develop. It's amazing. I totally agree with this.
Yeah, so find the person who's already achieved what you want to achieve, and try to, in a nice way, get to know them or buy them coffee. I mean, sometimes it sounds so intimidating to go out and try to connect with those people, but I've had some at our Peru summit in Lima. I met this amazing young man who, is trying to figure out his way, and he wanted to come to our global summit and doesn't have the resources to do that. And I've been like giving him some things I want him to work on and to see, make this happen. Show me that you're going to work hard to try to get ahead and figure this out. And he's done that over and over again. And so we've had just this really nice back and forth correspondence of thinking about life and the journey and what's happening in the world. And it's been great and interesting for me. And I'm going to get him to the Global Summit this year. And so I think that will hopefully be, like it was for you, a really inspirational moment for him. And so I would just encourage people to, find people you can talk to who have accomplished something, accomplish maybe what you want to, or a couple steps ahead of you, and learn from them. And it's gratifying to them, and people are often flattered by it, and you'll end up contributing, beneficially to them as well, I think so.
Go to get the yes. The no we have the no. So go to get the yes.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think that's actually a great point in life in general, is like letting go of fear, right? Because fear prevents you from trying, from taking chances, right? And so many times the fear in our head is not based in reality at all, right? I don't know about you, but I found that in myself over and over and over again, where it's like, am I going to be comfortable? Should I be talking to that person? Like, look at that person. And then, you know what? People are people, and we all have incredible gifts and talents. And I think just letting go of fear and approaching people with kindness and humility and an appetite to, to learn and grow. Like, it's amazing what you are capable of as an individual, and how the world will react to you, I think, if you bring that mindset.
I have one more question, talking about IT. As companies like IBM that has microservices like APIs,
yeah,
the artificial intelligence, and many microservices at the IBM Cloud, for example, what's your opinion about this? How the microservice can help people? How this software as a service can help people? What's your opinion about this?
Yeah, so I think this is right on trend. I mean, certainly we're seeing, a huge movement to services on the cloud, right? And so things just not residing in locked away servers anymore. They're out there, out on the cloud. People are kind of taking services, all sorts of different types of services now, right? And could be very broad in the offering, very narrow in the offering, and making them available to individuals and to businesses. I mean, this kind of speaks a little bit to my point earlier, where this is, such an exciting time to be alive, because as an individual, if you have an idea to want to create a company, well, you can tap into an IBM service and access, some amazing AI or some amazing, accounting or machine learning capabilities that you would never you couldn't build in yourself, right? And so now you don't have to think about some of these building blocks for creating new services and new businesses, because you can tap into these extraordinary providers that are out there, and the costs of these things continue to come down more and more. And I think as more and more individuals basically start to use these services, right, it creates great businesses, it allows them to bring prices down, there's more competition, and all these things become democratized. And that helps everyone, right? It lifts all boats. And so I think it's one of the most exciting and important trends that's happening, and it's so encouraging to see companies like IBM doing it, and so many other companies do it.
Thank you, that's perfect. Okay, guys, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was so great to get to chat with you.
Yeah, it was very good. And people, just go. Continues going. I come here and I said, oh, I want to have a meeting with them. And I get So I try it. I look at for that and I try it. So just go and try. Okay? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.